Now we all know that Rockets are in the game, and I'm kind of making this video to remind everyone of that. In this deck, it was supposed to kind of get an upgrade through the form of Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, and it definitely is an improvement, I would say. However, this card alone is not enough, man. This deck is pretty much just rogue tier. The amount of plays you can actually make in a single turn, there's pretty much just two routes you can actually take. One is to set up your fusion monster as well as a monster on the field, and then the other is to actually go into a link 4, and that's pretty much it. No other protection, no other negation or anything. That's pretty much it. It's sad to see the state that Rockets are in, man. And when they were first announced, I was actually excited, but now that I actually get to play with them, they're pretty bad. Now, in my opinion, Rockets themselves aren't really the issue. It's the fact that we're missing a lot of good cards. And the first card that kind of comes to mind is the Link 1 monster, the one that searches for your boot sector launch, as well as sets up a lot of other plays. Now, it might not really seem that strong, but pretty much summoning a single monster from the deck allows you to special summon 2 more, which I guess they kind of want to save it until another box, just so they can make more money off of it, because it will serve as support for many other decks. But for Rocket specifically, this deck needs that card so bad, man. They kind of tried to replace the Link 1 monster with this skill that they've given us, Borrow Launch, which it can only be activated if you normal summon a Rocket monster, and you pretty much have to send a card from your hand back into the deck to play a boot sector launch from your deck. It's very terrible because you're pretty much losing out on a lot. First of all, you're losing out on a normal summon, and then you also have to return a card from your hand. It's pretty much the best skill that Rockets do have, but it's still pretty bad, man. And as for the boss monsters that this deck kind of does have, Borreload Furious Dragon is pretty good. It's pretty much just a cheap copy of DPE. And as for Borreload Dragon itself, it's pretty okay, but it's not good enough in my opinion. As for Topologic Bomber Dragon, this thing, I'm not even sure why it's limited to 1, because this thing isn't that great in my opinion. The fact that there's better limited to 1 cards compared to this, it's just not worth running in my opinion. I feel like the only way this deck will actually become much better and be top tier even is if they give us the Link 1 as well as the level 7 Dragon monster, because pretty much with that, if it's sent to the graveyard, you can pretty much add a Rocket monster to your hand. Even I'm not sure if these cards will be enough to actually make this deck top tier, but this deck's trying, man. It's trying its best.